Shabbat Shalom. All right, so it is the Sabbath, as you can tell, and I was so on the Sabbath. One of the things that I always wake up and ask Abba Yah what he wants me to do, but on the Sabbath, I usually attempt to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Most people that are close to me, they know, don't call me, don't text me. Um, if you see me on social media, it's literally just to post something that a revelation I might have had from Ruach HaKodesh while I was spending time in his presence. But so today, Abaya had me watching some apologetics videos. Sometimes it's praise and worship music, sometimes it's sermons, sometimes it's just me, having long prayer sessions, talking, just conversing with him for a long time. But today, he led me to watch some apologetics videos, and I am subscribed to a few apologists. There's actually two that I'm subscribed to, and they actually did a video together. So that's part of the reason why I started watching it, because I'm subscribed to their individual channels, but they did a video together. Alisa Childers and John McCrae from What Do You Meme? M-E-M-E, as in, we post up meme pictures. What do you meme? And I'm going to put the link to the video that I'm watching in the description. But they were just talking about, one of the things that they mentioned was how you can't earn grace. And it really got me to thinking, because how many of us have sat in sermons where we've heard people talking about how if you do this and you do this and you do this, God will give you this, that, and the other. That is what you call a transactional grace, a transactional gospel, I should say. Because basically, you get good for doing good. But that completely destroys what grace really is. Because grace is receiving that which you don't deserve. And mercy is not receiving what you do deserve. Through Yeshua HaMashiach's grace, we received salvation and kingdom citizenship in Abaya's heaven that we don't deserve. There's nothing we can do to deserve that. Nothing. So you hear this being preached, and a lot of times it's also preached in the adverse. If you see somebody struggling financially, if you see somebody going through hard times and whatnot, then obviously they're being disobedient. Well, that's a lie. Because when I look at everybody in the Bible, especially anybody that did anything worth noting, and I'm talking about everybody that walked with God, I'm not talking about the people that opposed him and all that other stuff, but anybody that Abba used mightily for his name's sake, well, any of the patriarchs, let's put it that way, because he even used so any of the patriarchs of the Bible, Moses, Elijah, Elisha, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Daniel, Paul, Peter, John, Luke, any of those people, Yeshua, any of those people, when you think about their stories, their plight, they went through some things. Yeah, they had moments where they had stuff, but then they had moments where they didn't have stuff. So to me, when I look at the Bible, I don't look at, my good deeds get me good stuff and my bad deeds get me bad stuff. The way I look at it is, as a matter of fact, there's a story when Yeshua heals the blind man who was blind from birth. The Pharisees even said, which one of these sinned? Or it was either the Pharisees or Yeshua's disciples. Either way, the question was asked, who sinned, the man or his parents? Because in their mind, their way of thinking was someone had to have done something for this boy to have been born blind. And Yeshua said he was born blind so that the glory of God could be shown. So if he never had sight, how is it possible that he has it now? Because here's the thing. If he started off with sight, like Paul had sight, he lost his sight, then he regained his sight. Some people can easily explain that he had something temporary that went on in his ocular nerve or whatnot, or in his brain that attaches to his ocular nerve. Something could have happened that allowed him to be temporarily completely blind for those 3 days. But if he was born blind, how do you explain that? You see what I'm saying? So you can't earn it. As a matter of fact, here's a good analogy that Ruach HaKodesh gave me. When you give your life, okay, so we're born into the world, we're living, we're fighting, and we're fighting the enemy, even though we don't realize it. When we're born into this world, we're fighting an enemy, and that enemy is Abba Yah. He is our enemy. So we're fighting in this war, whether we're consciously doing it or subconsciously doing it, we're fighting in this war. And while we're surrounded by all of our comrades, our supply systems, everything that's familiar to us, we're surrounded by them while we're fighting this war. In the middle of this war, we say, you know what? I think I want to fight for the enemy. You have just declared yourself an enemy to your former allies while you're still on their territory. So now you're in a fight for your life. Now, here's the thing. You have a cavalry that's coming, backs you up. You're good because you got an army fighting for you, but you're still in the middle of enemy territory because you were in the middle of ally territory, and then you said, I don't want to fight for you anymore. I want to fight for them against you, and now you're in the middle of enemy territory. That is the equivalent of giving your life to Yeshua HaMashiach. You are fighting on the world team. Then you say, you know what? I think I want to fight for Abba Yah now. And now while you're still here on this worldly plane, this physical plane, now you're fighting for his kingdom against the kingdom that you're currently in this world, not of it. You're currently in this kingdom, fighting this kingdom. So of course you're going to experience lack, trials, tribulations, whatnot. But here's the thing. We have a Father in heaven that is so almighty that he takes everything that the enemy is attempting to do to us and he makes it work for us. Oh, I just had tears come up in my eyes with that. He takes everything our enemy is trying to do and he makes it work for us. So the enemy thinks that when you lose your house, oh, I gotta put this pillow down. The enemy thinks when you lose your house that he's crippling you because his ultimate goal is still kill and destroy. He thinks he's crippling you when he takes away your job. He thinks he's crippling you when he takes from you, destroys plans of yours, kills. He thinks he's taking from you. And Abba Yah the whole time is sitting there going, okay, bloop, 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 and makes it work for you. I fornicated and had a child out of wedlock in the midst of me walking for God hard. And he took that and he made it work for me. He took my mistake. He took my sin and made it work for. Dude, are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm saying? I know Deuteronomy chapter 28, 1-14 says that if we're obedient, then he'll make us blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed when we come in, blessed when we go out. Everything we put our hands to will prosper. But what are the blessings that he's talking about? That's the key to it. First, well, there's two keys to it. First, he said if we're obedient to him. He didn't say if we did good things. He said if we're obedient to him, because realistically, if you really research Satanism and what they believe, as a matter of fact, if you go to the Church of Satan website, you'll see that they have, I want to say it's 9 statements and 11 principles, or it might be 9 statements and 9 principles. But anyway, if you read them, it seems like some good things to do. A lot of the stuff that it says on their website seems like good and moral things to do, especially when you get down to the part where it talks about going after people that do harm to children. Yes, this is on the website to the Church of Satan. They say when you do harm to, because here's the thing, what people fail to realize is what we are seeing portrayed as Satanism is not true Satanism, okay? Satanism is very, very crafty and subtle, to the point where you will not be able to recognize a true Satanist. The over the top, wearing a vial of blood, black all the time, listening to Marilyn Manson and all the others, that type of what we call Satanist that's like the equivalent of these people walking around in three-piece suits all the time with crosses around their necks and I'm blessed and highly favored. You know, the extreme Christianity, that's the equivalent of that. But just like you can barely recognize a true child of Yah, it's really hard to recognize a true Satanist because their principles seem good. This is why doing good doesn't get you good things. Matter of fact, that is actually one of the things that they believe. If you do good, you'll get good. I mean, that's what karma means. You get out what you put out. And they try to say, oh, it's the same as reaping and sowing. No. It's not the same. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's not the same. But going back to what I was saying. So if you go on their website, you'll see this. But Deuteronomy chapter 28 says if we're obedient to Abba, then we'll be blessed. Now here's the thing. Let's stop right there. What does he mean by blessed? Because we like to ascribe our own definition to that word right there. So then we're expecting, oh, I was obedient to you, so where's my house? I was obedient to you, so where's my business? I was obedient to you, so where's my spouse? But is that what he said your blessings were? Because first and foremost, Yahuah chapter 6 says that he's automatically going to clothe, food, and shelter us. So if you're sleeping in your car, which I've had to do before, isn't that shelter? I mean, I have clothes on, so you can't really tell of anything that I might be going through, which I am going through something right now, but you can't tell. I got clothes on. I'm eating. As you can see from my little fat rolls, I haven't missed a meal. So at the end of the day, he has blessed me. The fact that I woke up and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, he has blessed me. So what exactly is he talking about being blessed in Deuteronomy chapter 28? That's first and foremost. Then it goes on, starting in verse 15 of Deuteronomy 28 all the way to 68. He talks about what happens when you're disobedient. And basically what he's saying when you're disobedient is when you're disobedient to him, you open yourself up for whatever the enemy is going to do to you without his covering, without Abba's covering, without Abba's protection. Because the enemy is going to do it to you regardless. That's literally what he's telling you. You're basically walking into enemy territory without an army and without weapons. I would like for you to try. No, I wouldn't like for you to try. Just imagine in your mind if you left your base camp while you were fighting in the middle of a war and you left all your weapons, you left your armor, you didn't tell anybody where you were going, so you have no way of anyone knowing to come to extract you from where you're going, and then you just walk into the enemy camp like, hey y'all, what's that? Dude, not only will you suffer for it, but so will your children, their children, so on and so forth, until somebody steps up and decides this is not going to continue in my family. And then that's when it stops. That is what Deuteronomy 28 is telling us. It's not saying if we do good, we'll get good. It's not saying if we do bad, we'll get bad. Because a lot of the people that Abba used mightily in the Bible, they were being obedient to him when bad stuff was happening. Stephen was being obedient to him when he was stoned to death. You know how many times Paul was stoned? He wasn't stoned to death. There was one time where he was stoned and they thought he was dead, and they left him outside the city, and the apostles and disciples came and took him so he can heal, and then he got right back up and went and did exactly what he was doing that got him stoned in the first place. Then he spent years in prison. John, the Revelator, he wrote the book of Revelation from the Isle of Patmos, which is a prison. It's a penal colony. So you mean to tell me if I do good, good's gonna happen? Because that don't seem like good. Being in prison for the rest of my life for preaching the word of Yah. So, be not conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The renewing of your mind is telling you stop putting our worldly, finite definitions to the word of Yah. Our understanding of things is not equal to his at all. So understand this. The moment you decide you are going to walk with him, and I mean truly walk with him, you've now become an enemy of this world. And he will, Abba Yah will walk with you, protect you, and take everything, every arrow that the enemy shoots at you, he will take it and make it work for your good. On the backside of me falling from grace, well, not falling from grace, on the backside of me falling into sin and being restored, I wasn't talking like this prior to that. Like, I was very legalistic and judgmental, unaware. Yeah, I was walking with him. He was doing mighty things through me. But in a sense, I was like Paul. I was out there persecuting real Christians while I was perpetrating as a Christian. And the funny thing is, what catapulted me into that season of my life, I was on my way to pick my best friend up from West Virginia. And on the way there, I kept passing, on the way there and back, I passed a city named Damascus. And both times, on the way there and the way back, I said, I'm on the road to Damascus, y'all. And prior to that, I kept hearing Ruach HaKodesh telling me 3 years, 3 years. I didn't know what it meant. But basically, without me knowing it, I was prophesying the next 3 years of my life. I was spiritually blinded for 3 years of my life. He had to use that spiritual blindness to show me. And I made YouTube videos in the midst of that. He had to show me how to rely completely on him. And he had to show me that I cannot do it without him. And he had to show me why it's important for me to guard my relationship with him. And he used my own sin to do it. Listen, any and everything that we have done and will do, he factored it in to him calling us. He's still calling each and every single one of us because he's not looking for perfect people who are doing good and out here and just being fake. What he's looking for is willing vessels to become his children, not just his disciples, his children. Yes, he factored in all your past, present, and future mistakes, mishaps, and feelings. He factored that all into the fact that he is currently saying, come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, or however it goes. You know how the scripture goes. He's telling you, even in the midst of you being human and imperfect, he's still calling you. He knows what vices you have. He knows what vices you have. He knows what thoughts lie in your brain and what feelings you have in your heart. He knows all of that. He knows you have a cussing problem. He knows you have a fornication problem. He knows that you like to do little weird things. Listen, I'm not going to get into it. He knows your sins, okay? He's still calling you. And what he's saying is, hey, I provided a way for you to come fight for me, and I've already helped you with them sins, okay? You just got to catch up to what I already did. But first, you have to accept the fact that I did it, and then you can get into the process of sanctification, purification. Being his child, being his Talmudim, it's a process. It is not something that you just wake up and all of a sudden, bam, I'm doing everything perfect. That's not how that works. It's a process. Stop waiting until you have perfected the process and stop worrying about the fact that you got this, that, and the other going on. Understand, he factored all of that in when he said, come to me. When Yeshua was walking on the water and Kepha stepped outside of that boat, Kepha said to Yeshua, Lord, if that's you, tell me to come and I'll come. Yeshua didn't say, well, I mean, you gonna deny me 3 times in the future. So I don't know. I don't know if I want you to come to me. As a matter of fact, you gonna have a lot. You gonna cut this soldier's ear off. You know, you got some issues that you need to work out. So you stay on in that boat, Kafa. He didn't say that. He said, come. Knowing what Peter would do in the future, he said, come. And notice he only called Peter. Peter was the only one that was willing to get outside of that boat. So that's the only one he called. He wants willing vessels, not perfect vessels. Whew. Okay, let me stop. I just wanted to drop this into you guys. Like I said, I'm going to put the link to the video in the description. You'll see that what Ruach HaKodesh had me speak is not all similar to it, because he had me go off on a whole different tangent, but I felt it bubbling up. There's somebody out there that needs to know that he's calling you regardless of what you're going through, who you are. Stop allowing the enemy to make you ashamed. Because in your nakedness, you'll see that you have the most beautiful, reliable, amazing relationship with Abba Yah by just letting go and cliche statement. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Letting go and letting God. Okay, guys, let me go back to watching the video. And like I said, I'll put the link in the description. You guys are gonna love this. All right. So also, I just want to say thank you to everybody that is subscribed to this channel. Understand, I don't ask for money. I don't ask for anything, but I just wanted you to know that I do appreciate all 29 of you. I appreciate you guys so very much, and I pray that Abba Yah is reaching you through me. I know you've seen me transform from the very first video to this video, and you'll continue to see me transform because, hey, that is what walking with him is all about, is about transforming. So every once in a while you might see me back into some legalistic crap. It's not on purpose. It's just because I'm walking. And what he does is he allows me to make the video, and then he'll show you, basically he's showing you the progression of it. Sometimes you'll have moments where you look like you did, but then you come back out of it. I have a good friend, a sister even. She is a psychology major, and she was telling me about extinction bursts. In psychology, an extinction burst is when someone is trying to stop a bad habit, like say alcohol, and just before that bad habit is completely gone, they consume a whole lot of alcohol. It's called an extinction burst. Basically, the habit is attempting to stay. So a good indication that it's about to be gone is the fact that you have this huge desire to all of a sudden consume all this alcohol. And I'll put a link to Extinction Burst in the description to this video as well. But I just want you to know you are literally watching me come from a backslidden state. Some of my first videos were while I was in a backslidden state, and he was still using me to speak. He was still giving me prophetic dreams and whatnot. So I just want you to understand, like, let my walk be an example to you of his goodness, on how I was. Some of my first videos, in full transparency, I filmed them in the house with my son's father when I was living with him. Okay, I was in the house with him. I'm talking about the first videos, like when I had like the twist, not the locks, but the twist in my hair. Yeah, I was in the house with him, living with him during that time, and he pulled me out of it. And now I'm in this place where he's in the process of restoring me back to where I was with him and beyond. But you're watching him in my life. And I pray that it inspires you to continue to go forth and just walk. Just walk. Just say yes. It's going to be hard. You're going to want to throw your hands up sometimes, but just say yes. Okay? It's worth it. It's better than saying no and still going through the same things without him. All right. So, Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Aleichem. Mishpaka.